Okay, well, let's
Yeah.
talk about the Gorga tea. So, the Thursday night leading up to the wedding, rumors began to surface that that they were getting ready to as they were getting ready to wrap up the season, that apparently Melissa is cheating on Joe. That's a rumor that they were blindsided with at the finale party, which was like a 20s Great Gatsby style event where they all had their flapper dresses on. So the rumor is that Melissa cheated on Joe, and I guess Teresa was instrumental in either orchestrating it or circulating it and having it being talked about on camera. Louis inserted himself into the drama. Things blew up. Joe and Melissa decided to skip the wedding. They spent the weekend at the Jersey Shore. They were posting on their Instagram stories that blood doesn't make you family. And Melissa was like, I'm so glad I have my family, and my family is better than Teresa's family because Teresa now doesn't have family because we were the last of her family. And family, and water is thicker than blood.
I have
Listen,
several thoughts about
even if
this.
I were fighting, I would show up for the big cowboy steaks and not the Jersey Shore. Like, I would skip the Jersey Shore solely for the seafood tower. I will pose in front of the candy truck.
There's a part of me that thinks that the hatred for Joe and Melissa on the part of Teresa goes so deep that I don't think she really cares
Yeah.
about what she needs to do on the screen to make good TV and also know that it may possibly hurt them, because I don't think she's ever gotten over the fact that they got on this show
Yeah.
in whatever way that they did. So I also don't think that it, and this is again my take on it, because I'm a little bit more of a Melissa team Joe. Um, I don't think that it's healthy to continue that relationship with Teresa, even if it is for the show. Like, for me, I'm just looking at my own mental sanity. There is no way that I would put myself through trying to be cordial with her when I know
Yeah.
there's a deep seated something there.
Yeah. And I also think it's going to start to affect the younger generations. As we saw last
Absolutely.
season with Gia and Joe fighting, I think the girls and Joe and Melissa's kids are eventually going to start coming after each other out of protection for their parents, and that's where it's really going to start to turn dark. But it's like, what do they do? Do they just leave the show? Like, how do they even? The show is their job.
Well, the interesting thing is that Jersey has always benefited most when it's been about family.
Yeah.
So I think that, I don't know. I mean, if they wanted to take Jersey in a different direction, this would be a good last season for Joe and Melissa
Yeah.
from a production standpoint,
Yeah.
right? If we Because we've got all these new women coming into the mix, but then again with Jersey, you lose that familial element that is
Yeah.
so different from every other show. And the reason, one of the reasons why Teresa works so well is, I would almost say, is because of her relationship with Joe and Melissa. Because of that tension, the three of them will always have a story. And I hate when people like, and I don't like the idea of a storyline, because I think that's something that you sit down and plot. Like, this is what we're going to do this season. I think a story is a naturally occurring thing in your life that makes you interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that is it for the Teresa, Joe, Melissa trifecta, because there is contention there and it may never be resolved.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this could go on for seasons.
Yeah. And I think at this point
Or
we're tired of rewatching the same story
that's the
over
other
and
thing.
over and over with them.
We, the audience, we don't always want to see that.
Yeah. Do you think Melissa really cheated on Joe?
No,
A little flirt?
no,
You think she's loyal?
yes. I think that Melissa is smart enough to know um I think she's smart enough to know that it is most beneficial to her life and her lifestyle to remain faithful to her husband, not only from a perspective of living a well taken care of lifestyle, being on a top rated reality show, having homes being built by a man who can build them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And not to mention that, I mean, just from an aesthetic perspective, Joe Gorga's attractive. You know what I'm saying? He's got personality. So I just don't see her stepping out on him in that way. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I wonder if it's related to the rumor. I don't know if you've heard this rumor, but I've heard it before that she cheated on him back in the day with like somebody that she went to high school with, or when she was someone from her past, like had resurfaced in her life. And then there was a rumor that there was like a love child and maybe one of the kids wasn't Joe's. It was a crazy rumor. And I'm trying to think like a cheating rumor, like just like what? She was texting some other guy. Like that's not big enough to like really blow up the family again. But if the kids were dragged into it, that would be detrimental to the point where Joe and Melissa would totally cut Teresa off. So I'm wondering if it's related to that cheating rumor of Melissa. I think it was like someone from she went to high school with, or one of her first boyfriends or something. This is all my own speculation. I don't know what the actual rumor was that was brought up on camera, but I know it was related to Melissa cheating on Joe. Maybe it has something to do with that, because that rumor's been swindling for a while.
Now, what I could believe that back in the day, that maybe one or both of them, weren't as serious, because when you're young and you're together, you do stupid stuff. You know what I'm saying? There may have been a time when she went back to an ex, or and her and Joe were still together, but maybe he had done something on the side as well. Like, I think that could definitely have happened. But I also think that, word on the street is that, well, it's kind of word on the street, I guess, but the same could be said for Teresa and Joe when they were married. You know what I'm saying?
Jacqueline said he was banging the secretary, and Teresa caught him.
To go back that far for a rumor. But listen, if it's something like what you said, now that would be I would be fighting about that one.
That one, yeah.
I would definitely be fighting about that.
I was reading the articles about like what they were trying to figure out what was actually said. And there was a source that sounds like Joe and Melissa that was saying that it was such a detrimental rumor that their relationship is completely fractured. And then you see them going off and talking about how blood isn't thicker than water, and they're posting with her family. I'm like, it had to have been something really big in order for there to be this big of a reaction, because Teresa's talked shit about Melissa forever, that she called her a stripper, and that didn't ruin everything, which I don't get why a stripper is such a bad thing to call someone, but in Jersey, you don't want to be a stripper.
Listen, Nene owned being a stripper, baby. Nene owned every little bit of it, all right? To be honest with you, those types of things, maybe I think at that point in time when it happened, like we kind of looked at the world a little bit differently. But now it's like, okay, you're stripping, you got your money. Who cares, right? I feel like that's how we look at things nowadays. Yeah. But, back then it was like, Melissa was a stripper. It was kind of like an audible gasp fell over the audience.
Listen. If the stripper moves worked and that's how she got to keep herself some Joey Gorga, good for her. He got her 4 nose jobs. Yeah, and she looks great.
She does.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. I don't look 40 at all.
Do you think that they will recover from this?
Teresa and them? No. I think if this is their last season, there's no need for them to continue to keep up any sort of relationship. I think the only reason their relationship has even lasted this long is because of the show.
And then do you think that Joe and Melissa will rekindle their familial relationship with Rosie and Kathy and that side of the family?
Maybe, because I think at that point they'll be shunned from the reality world of Bravo. I think eventually they'll have to go on.
I think they should go to like an HGTV or something like that.
I think that would be fun.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them totally, flipping houses and doing something like that together. Joe's got the personality to carry something like that, I think.
Yeah, and Melissa's gorgeous, and people like hot guys with personalities and pretty girls that'll support them.
There you go. There's the show right there. So I could see them extending their brand beyond this show, and I think it would be great for them because it doesn't revolve around any conflict.
Yeah, I think it's time for them to start building that because I think they need to leave Jersey. I mean, I think the world of Housewives is already starting to circle the drain. And that's why you have Bravo being like, we need to put Taylor on OC. Let's do our first crossover. Let's do mashups. Let's go international. Like they're trying to throw everything at the wall to see what's going to stick because they know the shelf life on Housewives is starting to expire.